Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. This is Stephanie from Lumeria Star. So today I thought it would be really fun to film this video. This is a VR to Shuffle Tarot. This is my top 10 reading decks of 2021. So I'm not sure if I'm kind of taking like a different spin on this. So for me, these aren't necessarily the top 10 most used decks. I guess I don't really keep track of that necessarily, but these are 10 tarot decks that I acquired in 2021 that, despite whether I use them a lot or just a little bit, I can already tell that they're going to be significant in my collection. So that's really how the direction I took with this hashtag. So I have 10 decks that we're going to go through today. And I just realized that this is an oracle. And then I have, I guess, 9 other tarot decks. And then I have a bonus deck because I can't control myself. So, let's just get started. So I'm going to use, they're in no particular order, but the first deck is one that I'm currently using right now. This is the Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle. This is by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz and illustrated by Giada Rose. So if you guys follow my channel or if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that I am absolutely obsessed with the Samhain Oracle. I have the mass market, and then I also have the original indie deck. So when this came out, I was so excited. I knew I was going to love it, and of course I do. I'm still currently working through this deck right now, so I just want to, these are the cards I haven't used yet, but I just want to show you. So these decks, and I'm just so excited. These are the backs, and I'm guessing all the backs are going to be the same design because this is the same design on the Samhain deck. And it's got this really pretty green gilded edge, which I think this is my only deck that I own ever with a green edging. So this deck is just so beautiful. I love the artwork of Giada Rose. It's so haunting. It's got this like folk tale aesthetic to it, which I really, really love. So I just really enjoy this deck because it really helps me connect with the season, and I work with most of my decks seasonally. So I just know that like this whole collection I'm going to love, and I'm so excited the Beltane deck is coming out next. I'm sad I won't be able to use it until May, but so excited for that. So yeah, this is just a really beautiful deck that helps me connect to Yule season. It helps me explore, you know, one of the darkest months of the year. It's just so beautiful. And the guidebook is really great too. So I'm currently working through this deck. I pull a card every morning. I just pull one card. And then I kind of like meditate on it. I read through the guidebook and I see like what main message I can take away. So this deck has just been such a wonderful addition to my collection. Like I said, the book is really fantastic. There are all these spreads in here that I haven't used. So perhaps while it's still technically Yule season, I probably should try some of these out. Like the Evergreen Wreath sounds pretty cool. The Star Tarot spread, Winter Care spread, like that one would be really helpful. Even the New Year's spread, like I'm literally filming this on New Year's Eve. So like maybe I'll try this one later because I am not doing anything later other than hanging out in my living room. So this could be really fun for me to try later. So I actually might put that aside. But yeah, this deck is literally a top deck for me that I've gotten in 2021. It's very significant. I still have this many cards to work through, which is why I keep them separated. So yeah, this is one of my top 10 reading decks for 2021. Okay, so the next deck is another deck that I'm working with this month, and I have it in this pouch that it came with. This is the Northern Animal Tarot. I love this deck. I don't know for anyone who has it, but like it has a smell to it, and I don't know if it's like the ink that's used or the paper. I think all the ink and paper, everything's very like green, sustainable. So I don't know, it has a scent to it and I just weirdly love it. Like I could sit here sniffing the deck, but I'll stop being weird. So these are the pretty backs. So this deck, I just love the artwork. It definitely taps me into that like inner child energy. And I think it's because these illustrations in particular just remind me of like children's books I used to read. So that's really fun. They just also remind me of animals near where I grew up. So I grew up in on the Northeast, like the eastern coast of the US, the Northeast Pennsylvania. So I grew up in the mountains. So a lot of these animals do kind of remind me of home, which I think kind of adds to that inner child connection. And this deck also feels really significant to me because this is the first animal deck that I've finally been able to connect with. I do have others, and some of them I've passed along. Some of them are in a pile to be passed along, but this is the first animal deck finally that I adore, I connect with, we work well together. And I don't know if it's because the animals are, what is it, anthropomorphic, so they're kind of like in clothes in like a human form. So I don't know if that makes it easier for me to read. I don't know what it is. Some people maybe don't like that. I find it charming. I find it adorable. It does make the animals feel more relatable to me. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure. But yeah, everything about these cards, I love this cardstock, whatever it is. Like it feels kind of like linen-ish with the texture, but it's also more paper. It's not that really slidey, slick cardstock of like the Pagan Otherworlds, because as much as everyone loves that cardstock from Pagan Otherworlds, I find it really difficult because those cards are literally always falling out of my hands. They're so slippy. So I really like this paper quality. It almost reminds me of like fancy greeting cards, like when you buy like stationery, I don't know, like high quality stationery. That's maybe what it feels like to me. But it's just, it's so nice. I love this deck so much. It gives me very wintry vibes, which is why I was using it for December. And yeah, this is a definite top 10 of 2001. Oh my gosh, 2021. I also shuffled in the extra cards. So there are moon phase cards, there's season cards. And yeah, this deck is literally just such a joy to work with. So this would be deck number 2 in my top reading decks of 2021. So let's put that away. Okay, so what do we have next? We'll go to this next deck that I have in this cloth pouch, and it's because it fits, it fits the deck and the book in here. And this is the SelfLove Tarot. So this is by Hannah Tricori. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. This deck is just so lovely. It comes in this tuck box, but it's actually really nice. This is standard tarot size, and it is glossy, but like it totally works for this deck, so I don't mind. These are the beautiful backs, and you can see, I don't know if that's not foil, but it has the metallic, like there's gold metallic accents in it. I don't know what that's considered, if that's foil or if that's like a gold metallic ink maybe. They're not gilded or edged or anything. I probably should do that. I don't know what color I would do though. But this deck is just so beautiful. Like I said, like the title, it's a the SelfLove Tarot. The guidebook is the Positive Energy Guide. And this deck with its like really like feminine, flowy, fluid artwork, it is a deck for kind of cultivating self-love, self-worth. So that's really what I'm kind of planning to use this deck for. I haven't used it for that specific purpose yet. When I did get this deck, look at this death card, by the way. Like you can see the foil, gorgeous. I've used this deck already, but just for like general readings. But I think what I want to do is specifically use it for self-love work, self-worth work, and then also body acceptance, because you can see these bodies are very like imperfect. I love it. And you can see, you know, body hair and stubble, like they're just so beautiful in their imperfections. So I think that is, oh, look at the world with all the like pretty botanical tattoos and animals on there. Just gorgeous. So this deck is just going to be really great for self-love work. So I'm definitely planning to use this deck specifically for that reason. And I just haven't had a chance yet. But yeah, this deck feels like it's going to be very significant for me. It's already been a great reader. And then I just wanted to take a look at the guidebook, which is a really nice chunky guidebook. And the cover is like this like nice matte finish. The book comes with a lot of extra like self-love like tools. So there's a mindfulness meditation, there's some breathing techniques, yoga, like basic yoga and stretching techniques you can do, really just to all take care of yourself. Talks about the tarot. And then there's one thing that I thought was interesting. I haven't really read through this part yet, but this book also includes tarot as a game. So like there's instructions on how to use this deck as like a card game, like you would like poker or another card game. Like there's bidding, there's points. So I thought that was super interesting, and I haven't done it yet, but when I feel called to, I know it's in this book. So yeah, there's some spreads, and then we go into each card. And it's really cute too, because it's like written in like, I don't know if it's someone's handwriting or if it's handwriting turned font, but I like that touch. It just feels very personal and very special. So you can see there's the same amount of information for each card throughout the deck. So I just really love this, and I thought it deserved its own cute pouch, which is like this moon print with like Luna moths on there. So let's put this back into its pouch. So this is the SelfLove Tarot. You're definitely going to see more of this in 2022. I'll probably be using this in February, in my February edit for like Love Month. So that one is such a wonderful addition to my reading decks in 2021. Okay, so we've gone through 3 decks already. Let's do this one. So this is a deck. This is the Moon Baby Tarot. This is by Brant Palazzo. I was so excited when I saw this pop up on Kickstarter. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is basically a deck that is a modern reproduction of the Hoi Polloi Tarot. And I do own the Hoi Polloi. That deck is actually in my top 10 decks like ever, if I had to cull my collection into 10 decks. So this is basically a modern reproduction. So if you're familiar with the Hoi Polloi, it has the same key back. It's just all recolorized, and it's edged. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but it's like a very subtle baby pink. I'm not even sure the camera is picking that up. No, these aren't in order. So this deck is just a dream because I have just learned about me. I am very much into a 70s aesthetic. So the color palette, the fonts, everything like that. And Brant did such a nice job of keeping the integrity of the artwork and then still making it modern. And then the colors he chose, like the color palette for this deck, is just so 70s and so delightful. And the cardstock is like this really lovely silky matte. So this deck has been a joy to work with. It's made me really excited to use Rider-Waite-Smith. So this deck and the Hoi Polloi are like two of my favorite Rider-Waite-Smiths that I use. I really don't use the traditional. I have the Centennial. It's not really my favorite to use, but this one is such a joy. I usually keep this on my work desk. So this definitely was a top reader for me and will continue to be moving forward. I just love all the pinks and the blues. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. He did such a nice job with this deck. And for that reason, like, look at this Queen of Cups, gorgeous. The Lovers, absolutely gorgeous. Like the Green Horse in the Death card. The Empress, which you all know is like my favorite card, my life purpose card, absolutely beautiful. Look at that moon and look at the beautiful woman's face in the moon. I love it so much. So this deck will probably continue to be a favorite of mine, and it's absolutely in my top 10 reading decks for 2021. Let's put that off to the side. All right, let's make sure this pile doesn't fall over. All right, so what do we have next? Okay, so let's do this deck next. This is the Rainbow Heart Tarot, and I don't know if I got this in 2020 or 2021. I honestly can't remember, but for some reason, I'm just kind of putting it in this category. I don't know why, but I love it. This was a first edition. It did come out in 2020. Maybe I did get this in 2020, actually. But it's in this group, so we're gonna stick with it. This is a beautiful deck. Look at the backs. This was plain edged, and I edged it in a bubblegum pink. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. So this is another deck that gives me that 70s aesthetic. So clearly I have a look that I like. Yeah, so it's got this like 70s vibe. It's super colorful and rainbows and hearts. And this is another deck that I feel like is really good for self-love work. It feels very nurturing. It's just beautiful. I think it does a nice job of including people of color. I think it feels diverse. Look at this Seven of Cups. Like, beautiful. Two of Cups, beautiful. Look at this Ace of Pentacles with the pomegranate. Like, oh my God. The Star, gorgeous. This is just such a fun deck. Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I did get this in 2020, but it still feels good to put it in this category because I really enjoyed using it this year. So we're gonna keep it. We're keeping it in this category. But yeah, I love this deck so much. And I'm really looking forward, look at this Knight of Wands too. Even though it gives me more Nine of Pentacles vibes, like that is incredibly beautiful. Love that. This deck just, wow, moon, hello, stunning. This deck would also be really good too, now that I'm like looking at the artwork again, especially with that moon card. Where's that moon card again? I feel like this deck would be really good for like connecting with the divine feminine if you're doing any type of work like that, any type of healing work. So this deck is amazing. The only thing is there's no thumb hole cutouts, at least on this edition. This is the first edition. I think the second edition has like holographic edges and it might have the thumb hole cutouts. I'm not sure. I don't know if I remember, but that is deck number 5. Okay, so let's do deck number 6 that I got in 2021. This is the Kai Tarot Love. This is by Kai Grattan. So this deck is absolutely gorgeous. I put this deck in my VR when I did the challenge from Dawn Michelle at Boho Tarot, that this deck feels like a homespun gift, and it does. Like, look at these little touches she created. You are loved, Stephanie. Love, Kai. Like, it literally feels like she created this deck for me and like gave it as a gift. It just feels so special. So her artwork is more on like the abstract side, and the cards, this is a card back, by the way, not edged or gilded or anything. It is more of like an oracle size deck. I love her use of color. It's just, it's so warm, but these images really draw me in, and it feels very loving. So I feel like this is another deck that would be really good for like self-love work and self-worth work. There's all kinds of hearts all throughout the deck, and I love me some hearts. I also feel like this is a deck that helps me slow down. So because the artwork feels so evocative to me, I really don't like to pull like more than 2 cards with this deck. Preferably just 1 card, and I can like sit with it, I can journal with it. Yeah, I think this is a deck that just really helps me slow down my practice. I think because I read daily for myself, and I also read professionally. So I read events in person, I do readings virtually online. So in those kind of settings, usually because clients are paying for like, whether it's 15 minutes, half hour, hour long, I like to read quicker so I can kind of get to all their questions, and so they can get the most out of their time. So I've just been accustomed to reading very quickly, and it's nice when a deck makes me slow down. And this is a deck that I feel like makes me slow down, and I really appreciate it. Look how beautiful that High Priestess is. Like, it's haunting and it's beautiful. Yeah, this deck feels very like meditative. It's so beautiful. And another thing I really like about this deck too is the guidebook that comes with it. So it's this like tiny little itty bitty guidebook, literally tied together by string, but the guidebook has very, very minimal information, but it's almost like an affirmation. So like, here's the star card, since it's already on top, and I'll just read what the star says. Like, it's such simple information, but I feel like it's profound. So for the star, it says, I see my light and I shined, aligned and connected to the galactic sky. My moment is now. And I think that's just so beautiful. And every card just has a simple, most of them have I messages, like, I don't know, 10 of Wands, I am here to the end, I've got this, breathe. Like, I just think it's so wonderful. I don't know why I don't see this more, being more used, like on Instagram and things like that, but it is such a special treat, and it feels like such a gift. So I'm excited to continue using this more in 2022. So this deck has been significant in my practice. That is the Kai Tarot Love. Okay, move that off to the side. So the next deck I'm going to share, this one is a favorite among many readers alike. This is the Gentle Tarot. This, and it says here, heal yourself, heal the earth. This is by Mari in the Sky. This deck is absolutely a dream to work with, and everything about it is just beautiful. Like, inside the box, stay wild, dear heart. So the reason I first initially didn't get this is I thought it was an animal deck, and I mentioned before I really struggle, or have at least struggled in the past, with animal decks. But this is so much more than an animal deck. It's a nature-based deck for sure. But again, it feels very nurturing. It is gentle, like the title says. It feels very healing. So to me, I plan to use this in like self-love and self-worth work. So there's clearly a theme here with the decks I picked. A lot of them feel very nurturing and they feel very healing. And that's like a lot of the work I'm, you know, really focused on doing currently. So these are the gorgeous backs. I love these shells. The cardstock is that silky matte. It's just such a joy to hold. It's got that beautiful matte gold gilding, the kind that like doesn't hurt your hands. It's very smooth. The colors are just so soft. They're so warm. Everything about this deck truly does feel gentle and warm and comforting and all the good things. So like, look at this Seed of Cups. Like how sweet is that little otter? So there are a lot of animals in it, but to me, it is more like nature-based as opposed to an animal deck. There are figures in here that I believe are more indigenous cultures, which I really love. It just feels very natural. It feels very organic. I love this Three of Cups too. These like ladies just like loving life, like in this waterfall with rainbows. There's a lot of rainbows in this deck too. And I love rainbows. And these animals are just so freaking cute. I forgot there's an extra card in here, the Unseen. I guess I've never pulled it. That's interesting. Death card, I've been pulling a lot this year, so I've seen that card many times. Yeah, this deck is just so stunning. I've pulled this card a lot in this deck too, Four of Wands. Let's see, some of my favorite cards in this deck. I mean, they're all just so beautiful. This is the one on the box, the Two of Thunder, which is the Two of Swords. I like that depiction of the sun. This moon is really beautiful too. Let's see what else. They're just all beautiful. I really love the color palette. This Empress is just so gorgeous. So gorgeous, so majestic. The beautiful flowers. It feels very feminine. Yeah, this deck is just such a joy to work with. And I'm really excited to continue working with this in 2022. I love this World card. It's like the circle of life. Like I feel like it's very like, you know, being one with nature, being one with the elements, being one with like the seasons. Like this to me is such a beautiful depiction of the world. Love, love, love that. This Strength card is so freaking majestic. Oh my goodness. Love that. This Ace of Cups is just so sweet with this little bird here. Yeah, this makes me just feel like really in touch with nature. This wants me to get outside and hike more, which I haven't done as much this year as I want to. I definitely did more hiking in 2020 than I did in 2021. This guidebook is excellent. Mari's writing is just really beautiful. There's some places where you can kind of like keep notes. Some cards have a little like prompt, which I enjoy. I'm a big like journal prompt person. So the more questions you can ask me, the better. So yeah, and this book also includes like a full black and white image for each card, including all of the minors. So I really appreciate that. And I know this deck also has come out with a travel size in a tin. And I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of thinking about it because like I said, this deck really feels like it helps me connect to nature. And I'm really big on hiking and doing things like that. And usually when I go hiking, I bring a travel in a tin deck, which is either like my Aquarian deck or my Morgan Greer. So this deck in a tin might be really nice to always have in like my hiking backpack or my purse. So that might be something I might need to get in the next year. But this is a really important deck that I got in 2021. All right, so we are on to, what have I done? 3, 6, 7, okay, deck number 8. So this is a lovely, lovely deck. This is the Moon Void Tarot 3rd edition. You all probably know how much I love my 1st edition and how attached I am to it. But the 3rd edition is just a really nice update. It feels different. It's definitely different. It has a different feel to me. So these are the backs, and basically a lot of the artwork is the same, although Stephanie Capone did change some of it as well. And the original Moon Void is mostly black and white with tiny pops of red. And the 3rd edition, the updated edition, is black and white and pink. So this one definitely feels like more feminine. The Moon Void Tarot in general kind of follows one character, which I believe is Stephanie Capone. And I really see myself in it as well. And I feel like this deck is kind of like she's grown up. Like you can tell she's more adult. She feels more mature. Whereas with the original Moon Void, she was a bit younger, in my opinion, and she was younger like I was, if that makes sense. I feel like we've kind of grown up together. I do like how this deck has a few extra cards. So there's like 2 crystal cards. Black Diamond is one of them. I think Rose Quartz is another one. I just love this deck. It feels very modern. It feels feminine. It feels playful. It feels relatable. This Death card is really beautiful. I love the 10 of Cups. Like, just so sweet. Love the Lovers card. Like, that to me is just gorgeous. The Strength card. This is the deck where I connected with my spirit guide, Skittle, who was my black and white tuxedo cat growing up. So this feels really significant in that way. The Empress, you all know that's my card, and I got Stephanie to do commission art with me as the Empress, which I absolutely love. That's in my bedroom. So this deck, I haven't used as much because I am, again, very attached to my original version, but I am really excited to work with this more in 2022. And this has definitely been a significant deck for me, despite not have reading with it as much as maybe other decks. But look at this with the heart-shaped tub. So cute. Oh, I like this card too. So we have like the planchette with the yes or no. So like I leave that in. That's a really cool added card. Oh yeah, and then we have the Rose Quartz card, and she does include them in the guidebook as well, so I can show you guys that. So let me put these cards away. Really excited to keep getting to know this deck, but it's already significant because I've definitely been able to have conversations with my spirit guide. So this is, let me remove that for a second. This is the really nice guidebook. So my 1st edition didn't come with a guidebook, and this is the one that I backed on Kickstarter. So yeah, this is just super gorgeous. Her guidebooks are really good. I also have her guided tarot. So there's all kinds of spreads in here. Spread for relationships, spread for shadow work, handling conflict, calling in a relationship. I probably should do that, shouldn't I? Manifesting, working with the inner child. Like I need to do all of these actually. I should probably bookmark this and keep this out. Working with the moon cycles, altar building. And then we go into the cards. She's got keywords. She's got astrological meanings, numerological meanings. She goes into the meaning of the card and as well as the reversed. So she has that for all of the cards. And then I do like how she includes meanings to the extra oracle cards. Because like a big pet peeve of mine is when decks create extra cards, which is awesome, but then they don't give you any way to interpret it. And that just kind of annoys me a little bit. Like I can certainly read most any card intuitively, but I like when like the creator and author clearly felt strongly enough about making the extra cards. So I kind of want to know why they made the extra cards. So I love how she has like a nice write-up for both of the crystal oracle cards as well as the planchette. So this is a really wonderful deck, and that is also significant to my top 10 reading decks of 2021. Okay. The next one that is just so much fun. This is the Midnight City Tarot. So this is by Jackie Franco. And this deck is so beautiful. I love all the details. Like, she has this QR code and it literally looks like a Metro card. So I lived in the New York area for over a decade. Look at the box too. So I lived right across the river in Hoboken, New Jersey, and Jersey City, New Jersey. So like New York was literally a 5-minute subway ride. So this to me feels like home. This cardstock is amazing, by the way. It's that like linen finish. I love her color palette. So this also taps in for me almost like inner child, inner teenager. Like I was born in the 80s, was a teenager in the 90s. So there's something about this color palette that really speaks to that era, I think. And I don't know if that was her intent, but it just reminds me of that. Look at this world card. Oh my goodness. But yeah, this deck just feels like home to me because these are all scenes of a solid 10 years of my life living in a city and seeing the skyline every single day, you know, taking the PATH train, taking the subways, like spending time with friends, dating, living with partners. Like this all looks like it's all snapshots of my life in my 20s and early 30s. So this deck also feels super significant to me. I haven't used it a lot yet. For some reason, I don't feel ready, and I don't know if this is a me thing. I don't know if it's because it's taking me back to that place and I'm not ready to visit that place, but if I don't use it for that purpose, it's been a great reader for others because I've been using it to read for other people. It's so awesome. And her guidebook is really nice too. It came with these extra prints. And I like how in the guidebook she shares like the vibe of the card. So it's like the energy. She describes what the art is. She also includes the location, which, you know, for like, I consider myself practically a New Yorker. Like if you live in that area, like you know the vibe. So like, I love how it points out the locations of where they are. I'm very familiar with a lot of them. She includes advice and then a reversed meaning, and she does that all through the minors as well. So I really appreciate that. It's a really well written guidebook. So this deck is another one that feels super significant to me. And even though I haven't read with it like a lot, this is a top reader for me in 2021. And I hope to continue using it in 2022. All right, so my last deck for 2021 is the Tarot Chimera. This is the Arcana of Odilon Raydon. So, you know, this deck took me for surprise. Like, yes and no, because I was already introduced to the Lonely Dreamer Tarot, different creator and artist. They're not at all related. But that's where I first discovered Odilon Raydon's artwork, and I realized how evocative it was and how much, like how beautiful it was and how much it moved me. So when this deck came out, it's based on Raydon's artwork as well, but it's like a black and white and like monochromatic color palette. So this deck has also been a super strong reader for me. I've been using it this month in December's tarot edit on my Instagram. This artwork is just so evocative. It's dark. I feel like it's definitely great for shadow work, but it doesn't have to be used for shadow work. It just leaves a lot of room for interpretation, and it makes me feel a lot of feelings. Because of its black and white and kind of like monochromatic aesthetic, I've noticed that it pairs well with a lot of decks, and I do like that about this deck. I like when I can really switch things up. I like doing readings with multiple decks because I feel like it brings different energies. Different decks kind of come together in different ways. And yeah, that's like one of my favorite things about like mixing in different tarot decks, as well as mixing in different tarot decks with oracle decks, is that I think different images and, you know, I feel like all my decks have different energy. So it's like when they all come together, it kind of makes like a different kind of magic, if that makes sense at all. So this deck I've found from using it plays really well with most decks in a way that it just brings a different element. And I don't think I mentioned the cardstock, but the cardstock is that linen finish, but it feels less slippery than Pagan Otherworlds. So I really, whatever cardstock this is, I really love it a lot. A lot. Look at this Two of Swords. Like, how haunting is that? This is just gorgeous. And I have the little white book that it came with. I do believe a full-size guidebook is coming out. So I would really like to get that and see what the artist and the creator, what's her name? Natasha Rowland. I'd love to see what she wrote for each of these cards. Like, look at that Magician. It's like so dark and haunting. Yeah, this is an all year deck for me. Like I've mentioned many times, I use decks seasonally based off of like what I feel like their energy is, but I feel like this deck is it's a neutral reader, and I think it's because of that like restrained color palette. So this to me can be used all year. So from like a versatility standpoint, I like absolutely love it. I probably should edge this one too. Maybe I'll edge that in black today. I feel like I need a little art project today. Okay, so that was all 10. My bonus deck, which is an oracle deck that I got in 2021 that I feel like is super significant and strong reader for me, is the Sacred Creators Oracle. This is by Chris Ann. This is the mass market version. I always was interested in her indie version, and then I just never got it. But this deck has been such an amazing reader, super versatile. I love the plain backs. It is tarot size, so it's easy for me to handle. So these are really simple. They've got like a little tiny message and a little like symbol and kind of like artistic depiction. And again, this is another one that plays really nicely with most decks. So I've noticed as my tarot and oracle deck collection grows, I'm really looking for a lot of decks that are versatile, because I do like pairing them with other decks and whatnot. And I want decks to have multiple purposes. So this deck has been great for me for including with tarot readings. This deck has been great for doing client readings. I've brought this to events, and it's a wonderful reader. I haven't used it yet for journaling, but I know it will be amazing for that because of the guidebook, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But yeah, I love all the colors. This cardstock is really nice. It's just like a paper, a little bit cardboardy, but like, I don't know, it feels nice in my hands. It doesn't get away from me. The messages are uplifting. It's really, I feel like this deck is really supportive for the a creative. So when I'm doing any type of creative work, like fall in love with your own story, make a mission statement for your soul. Like, these are just so good for people who are creatives, and just kind of like helping support that. You the muse. Like, it's so good for creative work and, you know, artists and creatives and things like that. So the guidebook is also wonderful. Nice little chunk, and I love how everything fits in the box. Like, that's my favorite type of like structure for a deck. But Chris Ann's writing is really great. She's got essential meanings and self-care messages. She's got the prompt, like the meaning of the card, but then she also ends it with like practically like 5 questions to ponder. So this would work really well for how I, my journaling practice. I pull one oracle in the morning, I would read the message, and then like I could use any of these journal prompts, like what is your magic? What have you been hiding? What is missing in the way you express yourself online or in person? Like this is so full of depth and richness. So I haven't used it for my daily journal practice yet, but I'm going to in 2021. So that's really, or I'm sorry, 2022. So that's really exciting. So that is all my decks. This is a 45-minute video. I'm very kind of surprised, but I guess I can talk a lot. So these are a lot of my decks, my top 10 readers with an 11th bonus deck. Top 10 decks of 2021. Let me know what you all think. Thank you for SelfLove Tarot for creating this this hashtag, and I would love to hear what you guys think of my selection, and then what you all think would be in your top 10 for top 10 reading decks of 2021. So today is New Year's Eve, the day I am filming this, so I wish you all a wonderful New Year's Eve. Stay safe out there. I'm staying in because all the stuff going on out there. I'm just gonna like lay low and enjoy my own company. But I wish you all a happy and safe New Year's Eve, and going forth into the next year, much love and abundance. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please feel free to follow at @LumeriaStar. And I'll put all my links in the bottom. I also have a Patreon. I got lots of fun things going on in the new year with that. So I would love to connect with you in all the ways. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one in the new year. Take care, everyone. Bye.